Hello, and thank you for joining me in today's video. So today we have another commercial build, but it will be a much simpler build than the builds I usually do on this channel. I recently have been into making public lots, and one type I've been trying to make unsuccessfully, completing it. I've have done one, and like a quarter of a way done one, and 3/4 of a way done one, of some kind of nightclubish kind of build. And so this one, I just decided, hey, I'm going to start from scratch, because if I don't finish a build all at one time, I kind of lose the will to return to it, which is very unfortunate because I have a million different have-done builds just waiting for me to just go in and just complete them. But because of that, it's really difficult for me to actually post content, even though I'm, building in The Sims more than one would expect, considering the amount of things I'm not posting. So in any case, I decided that I wanted to just settle down at the computer. I gave myself a 2-hour time limit, and I said, start to finish, make a build, take all the shots, the interior shots and the exterior shots and whatever video you want to take, and save it for rendering, for, not rendering, we don't call it rendering. I don't even know why I thought the word rendering. We'll basically save it to do the video editing later. And that's precisely what I did. So you'll notice that it's not a very detailed build, but it appears to be relatively functional and cute. So I decided it was good enough to post on the channel. This build functions as a nightclub, a karaoke bar, a lounge, and I think something else. And I don't remember exactly which of them I'm going to upload it as, but it'll be in the description box, or else it'll be somewhere else in the video for us to see. And so one of the tactics that I used to make sure that I would definitely finish this build was to do the exterior for the most part first. One of the reasons why I kind of leave and don't come back is because I've already done the interesting part of the build, and I don't want to do the less interesting parts of the build. Like I don't really have the urge to do that. So this time I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't be left thinking, well, I already did the interesting part. This time I made sure to do the outside first, and then I moved on to doing the interior. As I was doing the interior, I was thinking about previous builds that I had kind of done, but not completed. Some of them have like an interesting first and second floor kind of split level thing going on. But those types of features take a little bit longer than I would like to spend. So I decided not to do that this time, but I definitely wanted there to be separate sections for separate things. One of the first things that I like to do when I'm making a commercial build is map out where the emergency exits are going to be. This is completely unnecessary because there's no such thing as, emergency exits in The Sims. I don't think you can have fires on public lots. I've never seen it happen before, and I think that they make it in the game where it's just not a possibility. Maybe it is, I don't know. But for me, it's very important because I like watching mysteries on one hand, like cold case files and like forensic files and stuff like that. But I also like watching videos about disasters and things like that. And so many times you'll find, oh, here's this nightclub and everybody died because nobody knew where the emergency exits were, or they were closed off or something like that. And I always think about things like that, like when I'm making a build. And I've gone to school for design as well. And so it's always something that's on the forefront of my mind, just making sure that entry, the egress is always, taken care of pretty well. Of course, in The Sims, you don't really have to worry about whether or not they have enough space. In The Sims 4, very specifically. In previous iterations of The Sims, they would just get stuck. But in The Sims 4, they've done a pretty good job making sure that your Sims will just walk through walls if they need to. So they don't, so you don't have to leave as much space as I have left in this particular build. But it's nice because it helps with wayfinding. So, on one hand, I like to fill my builds a little bit more than I did in this one. But on the other hand, it still looks nice. And I believe it will make it slightly more functional, in any case. So I hope that that is something that you can find and enjoy. And one of the things that I like about building in, how can I put this? Building commercial lots is, I think I might have mentioned in a previous video, making those little tiny bathrooms. I want to kind of avoid it, but With the new pack, we got some like changing tables and things like that, that you could consider putting in a public restroom. But this is not a place where you would take an infant, so I didn't really think about, oh, I should put, leave room for the big stalls, and I should leave room for like the changing station for in the women's bathroom. I don't usually think about things like that. When it comes to design, it's always good to make sure that you have enough space for people, for example, in wheelchairs to get around. And so there's almost always a really huge stall in a bathroom, no matter how many people might be there, in order for, what I'm saying is like for the capacity of the building, there should be a number of stalls that are big enough for people in wheelchairs to be able to use. But I don't usually think about things like that. It's just the bathrooms. I usually want the bathrooms to be as small as possible so that I can have more room for more functional things that I actually want to design. All right, so the idea behind this little nightclub is that it's owned by like one guy, just one person. It doesn't have to be a guy. I didn't really have a specific person in mind, but this person basically, I'm not going to say it's like a one-man show, but the way that I would consider it is like they have a very intimate like group of people who work for them. They know them very well, and they're well known in the community, and it's a popular like night spot to go to. But I also wanted to make sure that it was fun for Sims of different ages. And so I live in Japan right now, and one of the things about being here is karaoke is a big thing. And I wasn't necessarily wanting to make this a karaoke bar, but by the time I got up to the second floor and I had those little rooms, I just thought it would be perfect for that. And so that's what it wound up being. And so on the first floor, as you can see, there's a separate area with a stage for, the loungy kind of thing. There's the other area here where those little clear tables and chairs are, where people can have a drink and just relax. And then on the third floor, I'm sorry, that's not the third floor. The second floor is where people can go sing karaoke. And in America, whenever I would go karaoke, at least in my city, there was a Japanese style karaoke bar. But for the most part, when you go to sing karaoke, it's like a regular bar with a stage, and it's just like open to everybody. And you can find those in Japan as well. It's usually the ones that the older people like to go to. But for the most part, for the more inviting ones, especially ones that tourists might wander into, it's going to be one of the chain karaoke places. And they typically have separate rooms. So, you and a group of friends can just go there. You can go there on your own too. It's a thing you can do. I think sometimes it's more expensive if you're alone, which makes sense. But yeah, so it's a lot fun. It's a lot more fun. There's like a huge screen. There's different microphones for different people. And, you can just sort of settle down and have a good time. Without worrying about other people listening to you, without worrying about, being heckled or anything like that. And that was the style that I wanted to go with here, instead of making it one big open space where just anybody could sing. But, on the first floor, you have that little open space. You can, where there's a stage, so you can put other musical instruments there. You can busk. You can do whatever you want to do. And so once again, to try to separate these two areas here, we have the areas and around the perimeter on the on those two edges, which have the karaoke space. And then you have this area here, which is another little bar kind of loungy area. Sometimes, I don't know, I think I've just gotten into the mood and into the habit of making sure that there are different things for your Sims to do on the same lot. It's just a habit that I have. Like if I'm going to download some kind of lot. I don't know. I'd like it to be versatile enough that I can do other things with it very easily. If I download a restaurant and it's just simply a restaurant, it's like, that's cool, but it's not cool enough. So I always like to make sure that you can do multiple things on one lot. And of course there was like a little seating area on the outside. And that was just basically it for the second floor. Very, very simple build, but also very cute. I'm sorry, Jesus. Don't drink coffee and then try to make a video. Okay, so that's the shot on the entrance. This is the shot where you can watch people singing. And those tables are bar height. So the idea would be that the Sims are standing. Here's on the second floor where we have the open dance area with a little DJ booth. Here we have the individual karaoke rooms. This is one of them. The bigger sized one with a private bar. And this is the smaller sized one. And here we are with the exterior shots, as you can see. We've got the first floor than the second floor. I like working with the colors. I think they're very beautiful. I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in another video.